My thoughts.
A couple things. I think the mall was purchased in 1996, 97 by Redlands Mall of America. And then I think probably around 2000 for General Growth, 2001. The only reason I know that is that I used to write checks to them. So that's got to have some validity there. $120,000 a year. Does that include electric to the parking lot?
Paul, I think it's...
I don't believe that 120 includes the electric.
Yeah.
And what about repaving the parking lot? Would that be under us to make sure?
That would be our responsibility.
Okay, so parking next to the post office, have we considered anything short-term leasing of spaces there to some of the community, Beaver Clinic, those types of things? Have we thought about that?
We have not at this time. Have we
Something
thought
to think about that?
Be happy to if that's something we should look at.
I think the retail village arrangement is probably the best. We certainly don't want to lose any of our retail dollars, and this is probably the most valuable piece of property in all of Redlands downtown. I still believe that General Growth has a very strong interest in this piece of property. I think they've invested a lot of time. I think that don't be surprised if they come back with this and say, hey, I think that we want to do this village, and I would be very happy to do that and work with them. So I think that still may be coming up, so don't discount that. I think they really want to be there. I think that's all I want to say. Oh, both properties, I'm sorry, for $18 million?
No.
That's just the mall property, not the piece of property out on Eureka?
Doesn't include.
Wow, okay.
Well, I too support the urban village. You know, that's the whole direction for establishing and reestablishing our downtown as a vital area. So with transit coming in and Metrolink connection, that was all the excitement when General Growth actually started producing this urban village, and plans that we've seen and basically gave a concept approval to, I think we're looking for. I don't think the mall is in any position to become a mall in the middle of our downtown. I just don't think that would work. The city owning the parking is problematic. I mean, it's problematic for buyers. A lot of buyers came in there and didn't realize they didn't own the parking. So it is an issue and something that we need to be addressing as we move forward. And there's got to be public-private partnership because we own the parking. So you can't avoid the public-private partnerships. I don't believe we should be selling that parking. It's too needed in our downtown area, so I don't think that's something we should be considering. But public-private partnership would take care of the problem.
Yeah, I mean, that parking lot and the air rights are the assets that we have that can, with the right partner, create the urban village that we're seeking. So those are things we should be able to, in a negotiation with a serious partner, whether it's General Growth coming back to the table or someone else that comes forward to us or that we actively recruit, those assets are things we can use to potentially attract the right partner, and then we can use those to flip that so eventually it gets into all in private ownership, but at the right value to the city. Does that make sense? You mentioned, go ahead.
Comment on the, since Mayor Pro Tem mentioned the parking lot again, we're paying $120,000 a year to maintain. That's $117,900, something like that. And the tax revenue, the sales tax on this, is only $250,000. I mean, it's a chunk of change, but listen to those numbers. We're getting $250 in revenue. We're paying out $120.
However, State Street, obviously the mall parking was supposed to be for the mall, but you talk to the merchants along State Street. Those people are using that parking lot and just walking up State Street. So
should. That's
should.
Excellent.
So
that's excellent.
Isn't just that
Absolutely.
Match.
Absolutely. There's plenty of parking for State Street and downtown.
Another thing that would be good as an update to the council and the community as a general, perhaps as a separate presentation sometime in the future, may come from community development rather than redevelopment, is just the trends that we're seeing and what are the markets for housing in the future? Because everything I read about, the markets for housing are quite different than the market has been the last 30 or 40 years. It's going to be for smaller units in these sort of situations because of the changes in demographics that we're seeing in our country.
I think you're absolutely right, and that's what we've been seeing over the last year and a half, where units are getting smaller. There was a big push over the previous 10 years to build the 1,800 to 3,000 square foot units. Now they're getting smaller because the cost per square foot, size of families, and absolutely, I think the urban village concept is designed with similar to many of the Northern California projects where you have them attached to BART and other subway systems. They're smaller units, more efficient units, and are designed to get maximum density, if you will, with limited height, because most cities have height restrictions and they want to keep that down, but to try to get as many units as possible within a reasonable cost. These are also trying to achieve moderate income, low income housing.
The only two growing demographics for housing are retirees who no longer want to take care of a yard, or single family or single income or dual income, no children type families. And those are either the initial startup homes for those individuals or the retirement homes for those who are at the end of their family raising cycle and want to get rid of their lawnmower. So I think it'd be good for the community to understand that these kind of things are changing as we're doing our land use planning. We need to be thinking about what the city is that we're building for 20 or 30 years from now, not what the trends have been for the last decades when, we grew up in the Leave It to Beaver world. It's changed. Yeah, so I appreciate a presentation on that at some point. I think it would complement nicely what we're hearing about urban village.
Have Eddie, not Eddie Haskell, Bob present that.
Did you need further direction, Mr. Hobbs, or
Oh, thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's very helpful, and appreciate your comments.
All right, great. Thank you. All right, I guess then we could ask if our fellow council member could rejoin us, Mr. Bean.